Everybody, welcome back to a new video. To start off with, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Arrtx for sending along the pens I'm going to review in this video. They did provide them to me, but my thought's my own. In this week's video, I'm going to be trying out these new paint pens that were sent to me by Arrtx. They do a lot of different sets, but this is the liquid ink set. They're just called acrylic markers, and they come in this nice box with a checkerboard pattern. It's quite a nice box, it's very sturdy. It's that like thick cardboard you get like electricals in. And it comes with a little thank you card. So the pens themselves remind me a little bit of Sharpie pens. They're about the same size. And they've got little windows in them where you can see the ink inside. So the pens, they're pretty simple to use. You just take the lid off and they're ready to go, which is different from any other paint pen I've used. Normally you have to like hold the nib down and pump the ink into the nib, a bit like a Posca pen. That's kind of what I'm more used to when I think of a acrylic paint pen, but these ones were surprisingly easy to use. You just take the lid off and they're ready to go. The ink does flow out of them quite fast, which took a little bit of getting used to. Over the course of swatching them out, I found that I got used to it. So yeah, I'm just going to swatch all the colours out on this piece of cartridge paper to see what they look like and to show you. The set only comes with 36 colours, and I think this is the only set they have of this particular type of pen. It looks like they offer a lot of different types of paint pens, and some of them are quite similar to these, but I haven't tried those ones, so I can't really give my opinions on them. So the colour selection is pretty nice, and these are very opaque colours. The ink does flow out very strong, and they go over the top of things really easily. So I tried them on some black paper, and as you can see, they're very bright. They look quite nice on the black paper. So to try them out, I thought I would sketch some hummingbirds in my sketchbook. I'm not sure what type of sketchbook this is. I found it in my cupboard and it's been there for years. It doesn't have a brand on it, but it's very similar to like a Royal Talons or a Moleskine sort of sketchbook. It's that kind of smooth drawing paper. So I thought it'd be fun to see what these pens are like on that paper, because I know paint pens, you usually recommended to use them on quite smooth paper. Overall, I did find these a little bit tricky to use. They've got a bit of a learning curve to them. I don't think that that's because they're bad. I'm not very experienced with paint pens, and I've never used anything quite like these. They are very unique. But I liked how easy it was to build the colour up, and also how easy it was to fix my mistakes. With these hummingbirds, I was just sort of playing around really. I did spend a little bit longer on them than I wanted to, but that was more just because I was figuring things out and trying out different techniques with the pens. They worked very nicely and smoothly on this paper, and I wouldn't mind using them in this sketchbook again. But I'll try something out later in the video which made these pens much more usable for me. I'll show you when we get to the actual demo painting, but that technique really changed my mind on these pens and made me enjoy them a lot more than I did at this point, even though I was still enjoying them. Again, at this point I was sort of regretting the lack of browns. There's a couple of browny colours, but there isn't very many darks to choose from. So one technique I did figure out in my sketchbook is you can kind of smush the paint together while it's still wet. You'll see me doing that a little bit on these birds, but it stays wet for a couple of minutes, and because it comes out so thick, you can kind of go back in with another pen and sort of wet blend. It did leave the tips a little bit dirty, but I found if I scribbled it out on a piece of paper, it came off pretty easily. Yeah, it reminded me of painting a little bit with gouache if you use it quite opaque. I think if you're somebody who paints with gouache and already enjoys that, but wants to try something a little bit different, or where you're not having to carry water around, I think that these might be something you could enjoy. So after practicing in my sketchbook, I wanted to try and make a bit more of a finished piece. So I sketched up a design on some black watercolour paper. I'll link all the materials down below in case you're interested, but this is quite nice quality paper and it does have a little bit of a texture to it, so I was curious how these pens would work on like a more bumpy paper. I know you're supposed to use paint pens on smooth paper to stop them from pilling, but because these ones had such a different nib to the kind of traditional paint pens, I felt like it wouldn't really be that much of an issue, and it wasn't. I didn't have any pilling really on this paper, and they were very easy to use on top of the textured paper. So this is where I started to experiment a little bit with watering the layers. So I was applying some colour and then taking a damp paintbrush and kind of blending it in. The paint does come out very thick, and I was finding it a little bit hard to get these very, very soft blends. I also found that working with them on black paper helped solve the issue of there not being very many dark colours in this set. I do like the colours that they give you, but they are quite bright. There isn't many sort of dull, dark colours, which I was finding a little bit difficult to kind of work around, but I found that by painting on the black paper and then using the paintbrush to sort of dilute the layers down, almost give you that shading effect. I really liked working with them this way, and then also applying them into like the damp paper because they spread out a little bit. It was very fun, and I liked all of the softer effects I could get working like this. Also, with them being acrylic, it was nice to sort of lay them up, so if you let them completely dry you can go back over the top very easily, and that let me build up to some quite bright colours even on this dark paper. One slight issue that I did have is one of my pens, the ink kept flowing out really quickly. I think it was like the light yellow colour, and it went away after a while, so I'm not sure if it was just me, if I shaked it too much or something, but like a big blob of paint came out. It was it was a bit annoying, but it seemed to go away after a little bit. So when I'm smoothing it out, I'm not really wetting the paper at all. I'm just using a very damp paintbrush to get these sort of soft blends. But yeah, I'm gonna go and let you watch the rest of the demo now, and I'll come back at the end with my final thoughts. So I just want to say thank you everyone for sticking to the end of the video if you've made it this far. But yeah, thank you to Arrtx again for sending them over. I've really enjoyed making the video. I've enjoyed them a lot more than I thought I would. I'm not very experienced with paint pens, but I found these pretty easy to use and just pick up. There's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, and there's a few areas where I think I could improve, but overall, for my first time trying them, I'm happy with the end results. Like I say, I think these would be great for someone who already paints with gouache or acrylic and just wants something that's a little bit easier, a little bit simpler. You want to try something different, I think that you might like these. Also, if you've tried normal paint pens like a Posca type, I think these are a lot easier to use. You can get like easier line width and they're a bit more blendable, so I think that you might like these as well. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed using them. I liked using them with a paintbrush, and I really like the way they look on the black paper. I'll put links to everything I used in the video in the comments section if you're interested in any of the supplies. And also, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you're more experienced with paint pens, maybe leave some tips for me or for other people. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like, comment or subscribe. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye guys.